I know this looks really sexy, this frame here. I've had it specially YouTube, but I'm just kidding. So welcome. I want to bring you into a little secret, and that is that lately I'm going through a little bit of a transition, and I'm trying to figure out what the transition is fully. Because right now, it seems like I'm being ushered to do something. Because every time I go to the beach, every time lately, it's been like sort of roadblocks a little bit. And it's hard to find that quiet space alone where I can just record. Even the place outside have been now occupied with some dude, random dude, that just shows up exactly at the right time when I'm recording. And then he goes into the forest. So there is some, and this is how I read my energy. So right now there's another cycle of something. I've done something up to a certain cycle, which is what this is what the 28 days was for. That's why that. So now there's a different cycle that's going on. That's right. Now we're in a cycle of getting to know the body, getting to learn how to play in the body. That is this being's level on his consciousness journey. He has done enough of the corrections of the mind to the point where we come through very clear, and he has done corrections with the body to synchronize to the non-dualistic perspective. And then he's calibrating how to maneuver, staying in alignment when there is other energies around. That's also another thing that comes with play, right? Start to play in this environment. That also means people will show up. Birds will show up. We just noticed a read from the body that it feels different seeing an animal versus seeing a human. There's a different association to that. And so being so fluid with the energy so that you're able to be fully who you are in relation to others. That is another level that this being is just warming up to, how to fully handle those things. And so right now there is some situations that he has to maneuver, because there is a level of importance to uphold a high frequency. It is very important to stay within your lane energetically, to not get too mixed up in other people's business. Let them deal with what they need. That goes for every single one of you. This is how we start to get more self-contained, so that we're less seeking out there. And so that, because that is a codependent, that there is so many hooks to those energies, that is best not to even go there. Just to take a step back. I've been getting hooked with so many things in the past, so I know those energies so well now. Because I've fallen for the traps way too many times that I dare to admit. No, that was self-degrading. That was not a good frequency. We appreciate all of the advancement that he has done, every single step. He is very diligent, actually, but there is a level of relaxation and calmness, and that it comes at the right moment. And that's what we are excellent at with him, so that we usher him forward in this way where we can start to play. So that's the game, learning how to play with the body, learning how to let the body play. That is something that I have been so overly trained to think that I'm productive only when I grind, like when there is like that push. So it's like allowing just the body to play like a little kid in the sand, jumping around, just feeling how it is to jump around and use the body. Just allowing that in and of itself is very healing, to get into that energy. It's not about pretending this. This is something that needs to come from inside, because that's when it's transformative. When you truly feel something from the inside out and you are able to out your experience. That is what we're meant to do. We're meant to shine. That's literally where we take all of our insides and we turn them out. And we show everything. We don't want to hide anything. We show exactly who we are and where we're at. Completely authentic. Yep, I see that I'm in the dualistic perspective still because I'm dealing with this, with that, and the other. Cool. Because then you know and you're aware where you're at. That's power. When you're aware where you're at on this frequency scale. If you think that you are in the non-dualistic perspective and you're bickering with your mother, you're not. You are somehow toward it. And the way through it is through the difficult situations, through the correction of energy in relation to the world. So you can do this in two ways. You can do it internally, and I highly recommend that that's the primary way that you deal with this. But then if some things show up in your external, then you deal with it, if you can, in the external. It's not like internally working on it needs to happen if you see something external and then you don't face the thing external even. That's not how this works. You need to be able to face the external as if it is internal. That's when you know it's aligned. Because you're just looking at a mirror of yourself. And so how you're treating yourself inside is how you should treat others. Not with a mask, not with a social face, not with what we're saying when we're cool and when we're saying when we're trying to bond or nothing like that. Just purely who you are. And let that be enough. You are enough, just the way that you are. But many of the things that you think that you are, you're not even. If that makes sense. You're not even that. Because it's about growing in consciousness, in comprehension of how to utilize these energy systems the best possible way, in a very plain, down-to-earth way. What action produce the most amount of energy to come through a body? That is what we're specializing in here. How to increase light shining through a body. And what does that actually mean to do that? How can you turn up the lumens in a human? That doesn't sound very scientific, but that's exactly what it is. It is scientific. Because when you see things accurately, the way life really is, the facts of the matter, the energetically correct, what actually happened, if you don't pretend something to feed some other part, and you take away all of that, That's when your body can truly relax into you. That's what is meant to happen. And you know, it's funny. People call it the second coming and they make it sound like it's the Messiah coming. And that's the gift of who all of us are. We have that spark of light from God that knows the connection and how this landscape operates fully. And when that gets the right memo, the right formatting, then you will land who you are. That's what people say, who you truly are, and all of that stuff. You be your greatest self, your higher self, all of that stuff is true. They're all pointing to the same thing. Clarifying your energy. Because unless you do that, you're just going to spin your wheels. And you're going to think that you're doing progress, but you're not. Because you can't think that you're doing something. That's not enough to fully ingrain the energy that you need to ingrain in the body in order for the change to happen. That's why we play. That's why we play, because we need those bodies here to feel the most joyous and playful it can in this environment, because that's the environment that we operate in normally, in this joy. But there's been a lot of miscommunication and twisted perception about what our feelings mean. And so we have to relearn. Otherwise, we're just spinning our wheels unless we relearn a correct way of looking at this perspective so that it brings joy. It is that simple. The same as this being doesn't want to sit inside to record a video when it's so much nicer to just sit outside to listen to the ocean and feel the sun on my skin. Very selfish. And that is what produces the most harmony right now for us to come through. And that is the most joyful thing. When a body has gotten to that comprehension of, yes, I want to do what's right for me so that I feel good. That is a very healthy energy to have. Because that is you focusing on you first. And that is necessary. You need to focus on you first. Because that's what's producing joy. And when we produce joy, we can finally embody who we are. And that means that all your galactic knowledge you will have access to. Spiritual abilities, they are natural byproduct of you being fully embodied. You will see the cockpit. You will experience the correct signals that is much more sophisticated than any AI can't even get there. Because it's consciousness intelligence. It's very highly advanced. You are going around with very advanced bodies, capable of magnificent things, capable of reading and scanning other frequencies when in harmony, capable of remote viewing, same as a microscope does, but with much more accuracy when trained properly. The ability to go in with energy and correct energy within another individual, absolutely. Those are the capabilities that you have with these bodies. They are magnificent devices. Magnificent in that the one that can utilize his focus in a particular way, when you go deeper into that, there are more options. And when you select, there are always more options. This is how a flower blooms. This is how we bloom in consciousness. This is how these things are done. Gradual. One email at a time. We have come through this being to gift you with a 28-day consciousness shift program for free. All you need to do is sign up below to start this journey of elevate in consciousness to where human energy is comprehended, practiced, highly advanced spiritual science. And it includes consciousness. It is not possible without consciousness. We are consciousness. And we know that our power of effect, our focus, creates every single second. So it matters what you spend your time on, where you're going in frequency. It matters because it has to do with what you will experience in your life. Literally. It is factual that everything that you're seeing around you is created by you. So once you start to change the inside, the outside must reflect the change. That is how energy works, and it can never be otherwise. This world has tried on the outside for way too long. And you see where we're at. It's because people are not correcting the problem where it is possible to correct it. Because energy comes through our bodies and then out. We are sort of receiving these in imagery. All of this is just it's very sophisticated. Let me tell you, your brains are still needing to upgrade to comprehend the level of sophistication that this whole experience is. And it can be read almost like a computer scientist reads his lines of code to see how it actually is built from the inside up. Much like that, we are capable of those things. These systems are capable of much greater things than you might realize. And this is, many know this and feel this on some level, but then they haven't really seen any evidence. Where is the evidence? There are evidence if you want to see. But that's the thing. You choose your perspective. You choose what you want to see. When you know that you always choose what you want to see, you also know that, if I want to change something else, I need to change this in here. So that what is going out is different than what I'm doing. Because what I'm doing is producing this. And if I keep going, I will keep producing more of that. I remember with this body so much. We went in the wrong direction so many times, and I saw it snowballing. Only in hindsight, right? It's not so easy to see when you're in it. That's why something like this, wow. If I had this knowledge when I started, I would be deeply grateful, because this is what I was almost expecting to see, and no one seems to be talking about this. Why? I didn't get until I realized that, okay, hang on a second. I'm the one that sees it, so I need to talk about it. And then I realized, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That is my responsibility to carry, right? Because I see, ergo, I need to speak. The one that sees, it's shame on them if they don't speak. Because if you're seeing something in your brother or sister, and you care about them, you want them well. If you see that they're using their energy screwy, you naturally want to correct, like a big brother does to a 3-year-old or 4-year-old, right? That's what happens naturally. But that doesn't mean that I will have a relationship with that person. Yeah, it doesn't mean that. Right? There is a love that is just love for humanity. That is just, this is what we do for each other. This is the level of world I want to live in. Right? And we respect each other. But we're also open to one another. But that doesn't mean open to take energy or push energy. That is the dualistic perspective. And that is why there is a sort of a gap between certain beings. Because they don't want to deal with things. But then we have to make sure that, yes, but we don't want to make that wrong either. So there is a balance to accepting, seeing where the boundaries are that we need to keep in order to keep our space and all of that. Strengthening that. That is the next phase to practice. And that is relation to other. That is the game that we are exploring. Me, the soul of Kenneth, with Kenneth, is what we are exploring in this experience right now. Because we are seeing as the soul, as the governor of this body, that, because this is how we learn, the soul, how to operate these bodies. We are not as expert at these bodies in its current state. We have been in training, yes, but we still have to go through it. And there's no picnic. It's like, this is an adventure, truly, to embody who you are. Boy, what a journey. It is like you're pressing play on your own movie. If you do it right, that is what will happen. And when I say if you do it right, if you see it accurately, that is what will happen. You will literally be birthed from the inside out. That is what creation does with you. Getting into creation will elicit more of those things. Focusing on yourself, not in an egocentric way. Just focus on how you are using your energy. That's what we wanted to share for now. If you're interested in this free program, there is a link in the bio. I am so grateful that I'm sitting here at a beach talking to you, feeling the sun on my face. This feels so joyful to this body. Just this alone just fills my heart and world with my body. My body's excitement of being here, you know? And that is how we create a harmonious world. Because we're caring about ourselves and our own vibration first before you try and help someone else. Sounds familiar? Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, you know what to do. All of that stuff. Okay, take care. Ciao.